Okay. Recording, so that means we're live. Can you guys hear me? Somebody say yes. Dell, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Hey, thanks. Class participation points. Oh, I guess somebody replied in the chat. There we go. Bruce, thanks, Shaw. All right, so let me do a little sharing. All right, so here we go. Day 10. We only got 15, so that means we're 2/3 the way down and only a little bit to go. So I hope you guys are having fun. We've got 2 more topics today. We're going to do law and taxation and virtual communities. I'm going to shove them together. Usually each is a day, but with Nazim joining us later, I want to make sure that we can cover this, and we'll have actually guest speakers for the rest of the classes, I think. So I'm going to consolidate these discussions so that we can cover the most material. Just as a repeat, I think it's very important that when we leave this class that you have a very broad understanding of all of the things that are included in this topic. And I think I got your attention at the beginning. It took me a few weeks though, I think, to learn that e-commerce is not just selling things to consumers, not the business to consumer, B2C, but it incorporates a lot of other things. And now that you're digging into your project and you're down to the very granular detail of something like an IPO, an input, process, and output, you can see, hopefully starting last week when you did your exercise, you could see that level of granularity and detail, you can start to go, oh, now I can see the necessity for how what I do in my business is connected to other things. So all of this stuff ends up becoming related, and you're not an expert in any of this stuff when you leave here. I'm expecting you to be a generalist and at least be able to understand when somebody gives you an acronym like a value chain or a business unit or a strategic partner or HTML, that you won't go, huh, what are you talking about? I need to Google that. This should just be in your brain and you go, oh, generally I know what you're talking about. Now, why is that important? And that's what's the most, the objective of this entire class is to get you to that level. So yet here there are some more topics that we need to climb through, law and taxation, and that one will be a bit esoteric to you, but if any of you are planning on getting involved in business, this is so important, and I'll describe why, and hopefully by the end of the conversation you'll go, oh, okay, at least I understand that. And some of you who are going to work for existing organizations, you'll know that this stuff goes on in the background. But if you plan on leading an organization or starting a business, these are the things that you have to know up front, not later, up front. And I'll explain that. Virtual communities, this is just more of a broader brushstroke on what you already know because you're participating in them. This is the Facebooks, the LinkedIn, Instagrams. But from a business side, how do you engage with those different communities and what are the important things to consider? So we'll talk about that, which is a perfect setup for Nazim, who is a black belt, I call him a ninja, in digital marketing. And his history, if you read my Slack post, is coming in at it, which is probably what a lot of us would do, going and becoming a Google ads expert and helping small businesses or helping the business that you go work for leverage those. They'll call them social media managers as a very general topic, but specifically when you get in there, how do you leverage the social media platforms, and how do you have a marketing plan? What's your marketing strategy? But then tactically, what is your marketing plan and how are you executing on that? That's typically where you'll go into this when you graduate, if this is an area of the business. I think a handful of you are interested in this specifically. And that's where he went into it. And then as he got into it, he found that in fact, and this is what I teach mostly in this class, is that what's missing is a strategy. So they're banging away, they're working 12 or 14 hours a day, busting their ass, executing all these tactical maneuvers. Oh, I got better do a Facebook post. Oh, I'll do an Instagram. I'll do a TikTok. I'll try to get their attention, and I'll gather some engagement, and I'll gather a community of people who are going to start following me. But then they jump over to something else, and it ends up becoming a complete waste of time because it's not part of a plan and a strategy with a specific objective. They're kind of bouncing all over the place, and so Nazim ended up evolving his guidance and his business to be a consultant. And if you watched his video, he specifically is focusing on consultants and training of leadership coaches. Why? Well, he found that himself, he needed to focus on a very particular market, and he started to learn more and more about this particular niche. Everything he knows could be applied to any business you could imagine. And he was doing that. He was marketing himself out to the general market of small and medium businesses or individuals needing digital marketing expertise. And then over time, he found that he's just one of a million people trying to do that. And he learned that for himself, niche, 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 niche. And even though he's got these generally applied skills that can be applied generally, he applies them to a specific target market, and he's doing great. So he'll talk about that later, but mostly he'll talk about, well, what's his engagement strategy with these clients? And he'll show you a template that he uses. And so this is what, after we go through this conversation on virtual communities, no big surprise, there'll be activity 5.0. And 5.0 is for you in your business idea. Consider how are you going to leverage the virtual communities to set up a tactical marketing plan that matches and maps to your overall marketing strategy, which is generally what you've created so far. And I'll walk through that in a minute. I haven't seen your 3.1 updates. I've only had the time because this activity takes a lot of my time, so I can't just quickly buzz through them. And I think one team I gave some initial feedback, but it was just a little bit. But because this one's a little more complicated, and it's harder. But I hope. And then I want to open this up for a general discussion, not for each of the teams to go through everything that they did, but I want each of the teams to describe what they learned by going through this process. And what I would expect to hear would be, you learn when you look at the Porter's model, you learn related to your business idea and your business, what are the really major parts of your business that create the most value, that's related to your unique selling proposition. So that's one thing I hope that you got out of it. I'm not looking for you to fill out every one of the boxes, like to describe to me what your IT plan is or what your human resources plan is, unless it's directly related to the most important thing related to your business. And then the next thing I expected you guys to learn, and I did see this evolve. What I did was able to see over the last week, I did see this evolve, where you understood the importance of this logical, very specific and defined way of thinking: input, process, output. Now, those of you who are IT management majors or whatever they're calling you, I hope that this is what you're bringing to your team. I hope you're bringing that that you've programmed something before, and which means, and hopefully your program ran and didn't blow up, but presuming that it was a good program, that it had some inputs, and it had some process, and it has some output. And and this is where, I mean, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, every leader on the planet today thinks that everybody should have at least some basic programming skills. And it's not that they're going to go off and program applications for whatever, but they understand how systems work. Because as you know, and as we experience, and it's not just from this class, it's probably everything you do, we keep running into computers. I mean, it's like 7x24. We're like this it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's in that movie, Terminator 2. We're like the next Terminator. We're this hybrid of human and machine. And so we, as leaders especially, have to recognize how and where do we develop the computer side, the e-commerce side, if you're in this topic specifically, to engage with the human side. And it's not for everything. It's for, I mean, some things are really good to be systematized, and some things require human touch and input and interaction. And you can't, even Zoom, you can't get it. I mean, here I am sitting in my room, and I promise you, well, those of you who showed up to the one day that we had in class, it's a completely different experience. You know, my ability to see you and your reaction to what I'm saying. And right now I just unfortunately have to imagine that you're either interested or asleep. And I have to, you know, react against that. But we are always thinking about that. And in many different ways, I'm looking to you to consider that and be empathetic to who your audience is for each of your business ideas and how you're applying that. And then now specifically to the IPO, now you have to consider what exactly are the inputs to the process. And one thing I don't think I said last time, that it's in the one of the write-ups or the YouTube videos that I directed you to. Sometimes it's better to consider the output. What's my objective of this?
Did he lag, or am I the person lagging?
Yeah.
He did.
Am I lagging?
Yes, you are.
Should I speak more slowly? I don't know. Is it?
It does not matter.
Now it's okay.
Okay, now it's better. It doesn't matter. Now it's just slowly lagging. Yeah, raise your hand if something's not working still. So my last point, hopefully you caught some of what I was saying on the IPO, is that we need to consider exactly what the inputs are. And the inputs come from different sources. It could be, I'm going to ask a user to enter, you know, something like, it could be Samsung. You could ask the user, hey, could you please describe the problem you're having? If I have a bot in machine learning or AI sitting behind it, and I want to be able to read that text and then interpret that text to maybe make a suggestion. Maybe if it's a Samsung TV, then you could say, oh, my TV's not working. And then the bot might reply, what's the model number? And then you'd ask the user to type in that model number. So what's another critical input? Probably the database of all of the TVs that Samsung manufactures and all of the manuals, documents, PDFs, in all of the different languages around the world. I mean, you have to think, that's how big you have to be thinking about in terms of the inputs to a process. And I'm just asking you to call out two IPOs, but to different functions, because if you can do one, then I'll say trained you, but I've directed you to understanding the necessity to drill down to that level of detail. Because if you can do one, you can do 1,000. But if you keep coming back to me and saying, oh, input or, oh, my customer's problem, or, and then the process is solve the problem and the output is solved problem. I mean, what the hell? You can't do anything with that. I mean, that just tells me you don't understand your business. You don't understand anything, because, and I'm going to keep pushing on you to drill down until you can describe it in the same way that I just described that Samsung bot interaction. So that's my motivation for getting you to do that. So if I could, for time, I'd like to go ahead and just clip through the teams and just hear just a few sentences about, like, what did you learn about the general business, about what was important, and then in the IPO, what got your attention as to the level of detail and you don't have to do both IPOs, but just describe one generally. So let me, because you guys are typically too shy to open up and say something, I'll just say it. We'll start with Flying Tiger. Who is Flying Tiger? Anybody? Wow, we got nobody from Flying Tiger today?
Right here.
Right here, Sasha. Oh, you sound so excited to be here with us.
Yeah, sorry, I have another class, so I'm just a little tired.
No coffee?
Yeah, coffee, yeah.
Here, have a sip.
It's not strong enough, I guess.
All right. Just pull yourself together for 5 minutes.
You mean, okay, okay, on sec.
Just in your head, what did you learn about the business process? What was the most important part of your business process related to your project idea?
Well, one of the, like, IPOs?
No. In terms of the value chain of activities, what area of the business is the most important related to your idea?
I guess customer service. For example, 24/7 support, both by a chatbot and employee. The chatbot will be providing solutions to frequently popping out problems and questions. In case the problem will not be solved after the customer's communication with the bot, the option of chat with the employee will be offered to the customer.
Great, good enough. Now, IPO, describe an IPO.
We did, for example, an environmentally friendly packaging. So, for example, one of the inputs would be ingredients used, reusable/compostable packaging. And then the output, the process would be minimizing carbon footprint throughout manufacturing. And then the output would be the package is reusable.
Okay, that one's a little, I'll give you feedback later, but that's a little up there. It's a little too, you got too much going on. You're too, and when I mean too much going on, it's too high level. I'm looking for something very, very granular, but that's okay. We'll keep going. Let's go on to the next group, Shaw Academy. Okay, just so you're ready, I'm going to do this. A second.
What about something like input is customer relationships, and then process is asking for feedback about eco-packaging, and output is receiving feedback and increasing customer engagement. Is that something more like that?
That could be closer, but even though this is really, the level of detail is, imagine you're filling out a form and there are fields on that form, that level of detail. So when you say a customer historical, what is specifically, what is in that customer profile that needs to be pulled into the process to identify what you're going to be doing with that information? It's really down to the detail. And I'm telling you, there are thousands and thousands of IPOs involved in business processes. And when I'm not going to drag, so you have to, maybe this is a hard thing for you to do because you're doing something that's so granular. You're like, well, how does that connect to anything? And my only point is that it's that level of detail that's required before you can build a process and know how two systems are going to interact. Because I'm already up here at this general level explaining all these things to you about how business operates. But for those of you who work in business, you know this is exactly how it works. I mean, when you come to work, what do? I mean, you do something. You sign onto the computer and you look at your email and somebody asks you a question, and then you have to go and find the answer to that question, but you're considering the source of the question. You're prioritizing how important that question is. So I'm pushing you into the same level of detail that if you go to work and you're a productive employee, that you're actually getting shit done, then you know that you have to have that level of detail before you're doing things. And you need the same level of detail when you start thinking about how you're going to connect to other systems to get and provide value to your customers. Let's move on. Let's go Shaw Academy. I'm sharing the screen. This is the order, so you guys can be ready so we can go quickly. We have Nazim's going to join us at 4:30. And so I want to get through this and these two topics, which is a lot to do in an hour, essentially an hour.
Okay, can I start?
Shaw Academy.
Yes, I'm from the Shaw Academy, and I'd like to say that our...
Okay, Modri Salon.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nikita.
I want to talk about Shaw
we can hear
Academy.
you.
All right.
I can't hear you, Nikita. I see you speaking.
Well, we hear him, so
We hear him.
Yeah, we hear
Is that
Nikita.
me?
We heard Nikita speaking.
Hang on a second. Give me 1 second. I have to, my earbud just ran out of juice. Too many conference calls today. Okay, can you, Nikita, speak again? I think now it should work.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'll just continue. So we have a Shaw Academy, and I started with our unique selling proposition that it is a high quality standard of education. So in our value chain of activities, we tried to focus on HR because we found that Shaw Academy has its own lecturers who like shoot the videos and post them online. So we decided that HR activities are important for us to like recruit and train the right people to shoot and post the videos. So our HR, like recruiting, training, were the most important activities in our value chain of activities. And in IPO, we focused, for example, on the training, on the recruiting of the people, where we decided on the inputs that they will be promotion of the job opportunity, place for the interview, trained interviewer, and interview plan and evaluation plan. The process would be accept recruiters, carry out interviews, select best candidates, and as a result, we will receive like potentially successful lecturers who will be trained and support the company's USP.
Good, good. So I couldn't catch it all, but generally this is right. This is right. So you're identifying who the target community is. You've already identified what the criteria are for that community. And in the process, you're comparing those, your requirements and their attributes. And if they match, at least to some level, 80% match or whatever, boop, they go into the yes bucket. And if they don't, boop, they go in the no bucket.
Yeah.
Bingo. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly right. And then the thing I'll look at more carefully when I see your submission is the specific level of detail that you put in what attributes about their skill set and their demonstrated skills and their education that you're looking for that is also part of your selection criteria. And then exactly what are those selection criteria? Yep, that's perfect. Excellent. Okay, Modri Salon.
Yeah, hi. All right, so for our business process, we decided to actually focus on the marketing of this company. I don't know if you hear me or not, like.
I can hear you, but who is this?
Demir.
Demir. Okay, thanks, Demir.
Okay, so with the business process, we starting with identifying our customers. Because we want to focus on the expats in Prague who speak only English.
Right, and obviously, if you're identifying customers, what part of the business process is that?
That's all goes to marketing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to use our already existing customers and give them surveys polls, like why they actually go to Chen, like why they enjoy this hair salon and not the other one. And we basically gonna, based on them, find out our future customers.
Okay,
Then,
so now what part of business, the business process would that be if you're talking about engaging with existing customers?
customer service as well.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But it's like both ways, I would say, because it's really like identifying like who is the actual customer. And
Well, yeah, right. Because you in the marketing, you might create a marketing plan and a marketing strategy that then connects to your customer support and ongoing customer relationship management.
exactly.
So yeah, in that regards, they're directly related, but try to be careful. Don't confuse. If you're talking about your interaction with your customers, that's a customer support activity.
Yeah, and same way, also like at the end of the business process, we also have like provide after sale, which means building loyalty with the customers. So it's like customer service, but then yeah.
Exactly. It sits in that same category, that ongoing customer relationship management, customer service.
All right.
Yeah, customer service isn't always, you're not waiting for them to complain about something.
Exactly.
If you're good at it. I mean, I think old school was that way. It's like you had a complaint department, and that was essentially the only interaction you had with existing customers. But if you're clever, you're proactively engaging with them to try to. Yeah, I could go on forever, but yes, great. Okay, so now your IPO. Give me an IPO.
Yeah, so basically, purpose of our first IPO is a foundation for brand trust. So we were thinking like of articles for expats in Prague, like Prague Morning, expats.cz, and have an article about our business, like explaining the brand story. So in the input would have basically the article publications and certificates, achievements, and the history of basically Chan's history and like what is he doing and what is he passionate about.
Okay.
The process is basically to advertise, to have like, I don't know, basically have the publication about him in those publications. Yeah. And the output would be the foundation for the brand trust for the new potential clients.
Okay, you're on the right track, but I won't do it online right here, but I'll
Mhm.
come back and give you some feedback about being more specific. And
Exactly.
again, I think you're
Mhm,
just, you're biting off more than is in an IPO. An IPO, by the way, when you have like, okay, my objective is increasing my brand awareness, as an example, that which is, you just said that. I'm
mhm.
going to have multiple IPOs that result in the ultimate achievement of increasing my brand awareness. And so you've kind of grabbed a hold of too many things, but we'll talk about that offline. But, and also, by the way, I think pay really close attention to Nazim today, because I mean, all of your projects are going to have very kind of, it's going to be very relevant to hear him. But he's going to have some really good both concepts and specific tactics that are relevant to digital media marketing. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. My food.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. We
Hi.
identified 3
Uh,
key primary activities. We were looking at
am I
the
lagging
value chain.
or
Yeah.
What?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What did you say?
Hang on 1 second.
I got lag? So is it from my end or your end?
I think it's from Benjamin. He has a problem with internet.
Go
You
ahead.
can hear me normally, or is it okay?
I can hear you fine. I think I might be having a little bit of a problem, and
Yeah.
my network has been a bit up and down recently, performance-wise.
For some reason, we can't get a stable internet in our region, so I don't know. It just doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes it's all right, sometimes it's horrible. So if I'm
Yeah.
chopping, you can just let me know, and I'll just
Okay,
be
so
quiet.
far so good. Okay.
So firstly, we looked at a key primary of inbound logistics. It's quite important for our business because we need to receive like some organic ingredients, like the most quality from the suppliers. And as well, the key task is to storing them and to always keep them fresh. That's kind of what our USP is about, that we have like fresh food instead of like, you know, older food, like frozen food, or so the quality. And then a support activity to correlate with that is procurement and quality control. That's what we figured.
Okay.
Then another one is the service, more particularly the customer experience, because that's also like targeting our USP, because we have a high personalization. So how we kind of leverage that is to have a support activity of the technology development. So we would develop an app which would then personalize each member's profile, and then they could like have different offers and different recommendations based on their personalization. And finally, the last one will be operations. It will be just the process of transferring the inputs to outputs. So like instead of having just like predetermined food selection, you can actually like pick ingredients to actually like personalize the food. So it also goes to the USP of personalization. And we think that could be done with the support activity of the human resource management. So we can hire the right people at the right time, having proper training of the employees, mainly the chefs, and also is the firm infrastructure. So in particular, it's like the planning and quality control of the food and the process.
Right. So that's all very good. I didn't catch the IPO again, like the previous one, where it's not that it's not right. I just don't have enough. I have to really like look very carefully, but I usually have some minor tweaks. But so far the last few, I kind of get that you get that level of detail, and that's huge. And what you're suggesting right now, and this might be related to other projects, you just think about your own project while I'm saying this. You're talking about a CRM system, customer relationship management system, that has the profile of that user And the more you interact with that user, the more you know about that user. Think of yourself as Google, that Google knows more about you than your mom. And as that CRM system matures, you're going to use that maturity, that knowledge of who that customer is to improve in that customer relationship. Because over time, for example, you would know that they're allergic to avocados. So
yeah, exactly.
you can not send them an avocado sandwich, right?
Yeah, exactly. It works like that. So maybe like if you know that a person likes, I don't know, spicy or something, then you can just like a pop-up recommendation could be like, oh, this new food is like super spicy, recommended directly for you, you know, and this is what we think it's about. And then we also have like describe the IPO, different IPOs. Like for example, as we said for customer order, you know, the inputs, process, and outputs. Should I describe it or?
No, not for sake of time. We're gonna just jump ahead. But what I'm looking for right now is that you get it, and I'm looking for other people to experience that level of how much you get it. So thank you, though. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to Samsung.
So we focus on customer service, and our company conducts customer satisfaction service. And we also have a universal phone number for Samsung direct support that works 24 hours, 7 days. And for example, we took as IPO chatbot upgrade. So we add artificial intelligence to our chatbots. And the input is the database with products and relevant information, all models, all manuals, instructions. Then we analyze the request from customer. We analyze it using the artificial intelligence. Then we choose the right information to send it back. Then we send in reply back to customer. And as the output, we have requested information, which is sent to the customer back.
Okay, so that's generally speaking perfect. Specifically, give me more information about what those inputs would be.
For example, it will be, we have different models of TVs, as you said before, and it will be different manuals. So if, for example, customer makes a request that something, like he provides his model of TV and he says the problem, so then our artificial intelligence bot, he looks in the database for this model, for the keywords, and then provides the information.
Right. And give me an example, and I don't know if you guys have described this, but give me an example of how you can improve upon a human being at that online responding to that request. By the way, the baseline here is, this is the model number of my TV. Customer service agent says, great, here's a PDF of that manual. How can you improve upon that?
So we will use artificial intelligence. So we don't need these human beings doing this. So we will save time and money on people. Right.
But by the way, always look for an opportunity to improve. Just because a human does it doesn't mean it's the best thing to be done.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm specifically talking about the action that human would take. Think of your own self making a customer service call into an organization and saying, hey, my TV's broken. Or more likely it's, hey, I don't know what the hell that button is in the middle, and I'm trying to do this. What are you going to do to that customer?
So we're gonna send him some specific instructions, what to do or where to look for information.
Exactly. That's where I think we need to think about when we're talking about the specific input process output, is that we look to identify exactly what is the problem. Because if I can be more focused, just like Benjamin was talking about, if he can be more focused on providing food to a specific customer, well, don't just give them the menu. You already know what they like or don't like. If they're having this problem with the TV, don't give them the friggin' manual. Give them the answer. I don't know if you've had this experience. You Google how to blah, blah, blah in Google, and Google uses AI, machine learning in the background, and it comes up with a panel. I don't know if you've noticed this, a dialog box of the text that exactly answers that question. For example, I'm about to put chicken on the grill, and I need to know how much time should chicken cook on a grill, so I don't kill everybody with botulism. So I type that into Google, and boom, it comes up on the screen. Chicken should be cooked for 15 minutes on each side and achieve a temperature of 170 Celsius or something like that. I mean, because that answers my question. I wasn't looking for a recipe on how to make chicken cordon bleu. I just want to know how. So here's my point is that, and when we do have the systems that have the capacity to filter through all of that content and then give a precise and specific answer to a specific question, if we're thinking about IPO that way, then we can consider leveraging different inputs that generate a very specific and customized output. So, but that generally, you're dead on. That's exactly the kind of detail, I should say, question that you're looking to have answered in an IPO. Okay, let me go on to the last one, Floracki.
We are here.
I can hear you. Hello, Maria. And then you went away.
Oh no, I'm here. I thought some of my colleagues are speaking and I cannot
Yeah,
hear.
that was me speaking, Yana. Sorry.
Hi, Yana.
Hi.
We both were working on IPO. So do you want to hear from both of us? How did we handle it?
First, just the general business idea. Where did you identify what were the most important aspect of the business process, and then specifically give an IPO?
Okay. I can can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
By any chance? All right. So basically, I'm going to talk about the value chain of activities. So basically, from our perspective, we feel like the main areas that we would have to generally focus on is on our outbound logistics, our customer service, as well as the marketing process. Since we're a service-based company, generally, these are the areas of development that we would generally have to focus on. That is just basically enhancing the customer experience and providing the customers with the best sort of possibility to to get in touch with the services that we basically provide, and how they're going to move up the chain to basically becomes part of our business. Like in general, that they will enhancing the payment systems and all of that sort of stuff. So that's generally what we want to focus on. And
okay, but by the way, the best answers are usually the simplest answers. So if you back up, and you did say, and some of it I might not have heard clearly, I think I heard you say your customer service is a huge part of your business.
It's a huge part of our business, as well as that for us is generally what we want to focus on.
What is it? They're really, excuse me for interrupting.
Mm-hmm.
There are two parts of your business that are huge. Customer service, which is the relationship between your customers' ability to get the services that they need, and then the quality execution of that service. What's the other big part of your business?
I would say, can I add, Sean, or do you have an answer?
Sure.
Go ahead and speak.
I would say that it's IT development, which plays a big role in this idea as well, because the whole idea is based online anyways, and
it's quality control, I think.
I think it's quality control.
Let me be careful. Jonah, I never know what to say, Jonah, the JT, I'm gonna call you JT.
Okay.
So I don't want to say no, that IT isn't important, but IT enables you to execute efficiently what is the core business. Now I'm going to go back to, was that Maria who said quality? But quality what? Quality control of what?
Of services provided.
Of services provided, yeah.
Bingo, bingo. And that, but then there's something that's kind of related to Shaw Academy called it out for theirs. This is where you and Shaw should cheat with each other and try to see if you can't mind meld the first development part of your business. But before you sell a service, what has to happen?
We check a service. We check a
Well,
service.
we basically have to run a quality check in terms of the services that they provided. Yeah.
Acquisition of service providers.
Mhm.
Shaw Academy is the same thing.
We were thinking that we will require like certifications from certain professions, for instance, childcare or elder care, or what else could be like psychologists. If you want
I
to
can speak about these details because I was doing IPO.
Oh, okay, great. Actually, let's go ahead and jump down. So, and I don't want to spend too much time on this other than what we just did, because hopefully what we just did is we just, of course you have all the other attributes in your business process, but you have two huge ones. One is acquisition of services and the quality control process of acquiring great services and filtering out those axe murderers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want anyone going in and killing the client and stealing their jewelry. So what is that quality control process that brings them in? And then related to that is what's that customer service on the other side, where if anybody has any issue, that goes right back to what's the process to capture problems and to go essentially weed out any poor performers who maybe they got in because they went through your filter, but then maybe there was something else that maybe they just had a nervous breakdown and turned into bad people or whatever. But it's a constant quality improvement process. Okay, so Maria, go back to your IPO, because I think that might be on this point exactly.
Yeah, okay. So our input is achieving the quality control of services provided. And our output is we want to gain a reputation of the service, which provides fair price quality, fair pricing according to the quality, and doesn't provide certified specialists, but mark them somehow according to what they have provided. So in my IPO, you can see different stages they go through. So when they register, they have to submit the documents we agreed to be important for this particular profession and for all of them, of course. So firstly, it's a passport. So we want to know how old is the service provider firstly.
Right.
And then those things like some basic certifications for different people, so like basic diplomas or at least a school diploma may be a requirement also. We haven't discussed it yet, but maybe for some professions, maybe for some not. So it depends on the service which is going to be provided. And then of course some documents that the person is not imprisoned, because we are going to provide services online. So maybe some people can provide them from the prison, of course. So it has to be controlled also. And the person was not an ex-murderer or something like that. So those documents have to be provided also. And after that, the account gets a label of document accepted, like document provided one, and we mark it with a, for example, one, how to call this thing, I don't know.
Check.
Yeah, like one check. And then there are different, there are other steps, and through those steps, the person is allowed to gain other different checks. For example, if there was an accident, then we send the secret customer to that service provider. And if the service provider passes this like test, then he gains one more check, like quality controlled profession.
Right.
And then we suggest to them to go through paid certification. So if they want to, we partner with some certificates providers made by ourselves. So if they want, they can pay, they can pass the exam, and then they will gain the extra check, like super
Great.
top quality controlled, brilliant specialist.
Right,
And then
right.
also we would count on warranty. So warranty is also important. If the person themselves is able to provide warranty for the service which is going to be provided, then there is one more check or one like warranty label or something like that. So this
Great.
all is process of gaining the reputation of the service provider, which somehow controls what is going to be provided via the platform.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And again, I'll come back and give you more specific feedback, but I think one of the most important examples that you gave were that recognizing that different certifications are as a requirement are related to different services. And this actually gets into the issue of being a one-size-fits-all platform when you're providing, like Hladky. Quite frankly, I think that they're at a competitive disadvantage if they try to do everything to everybody in terms of services, because if I could provide a better service for a particular a service like Hladky, where I'm aggregating service providers, but I'm a specialist in a particular service area, like for example, home maintenance or plumbing or childcare, but because I, as a customer, I'm going to go where I get the best value. And I think what happens, I know this, that companies, when they try to do too much, they kind of do okay at everything, but not really great at anything. And the trade-off is lost because it ends up becoming a weakness, and a more niche-oriented service provider will pick you off. And so this is where I would, in fact, I can hear this in my mind, me throwing myself back 30 years or however many it was, it being in university. My marketing professor at the time talked about a new startup channel called Mktg, if you could imagine how long ago that was. And they used to have all the music in Mktg on one channel. And imagine if I like country music and then all of a sudden classical music comes on, I'm pretty annoyed. And it was a great experience that kind of seared into my head the necessity to segment the market and provide great service to that market. You will not be knocked out, but if you try to do too much to too many, you're going to get picked off. So, but back to the IPO, this is the right IPO. And so thank you all for very quickly going through all of your things. And I hope you could hear from listening to each other that there's that necessity to be this is why, I'm sitting on you since the beginning of this class to more specifically identify, well, what is your business and what's the business idea? What's the specific problem or opportunity? And now, thank the Lord, you're getting it and you're zooming in on very specific things. And that's the level of focus that you have to get into before you can effectively execute, to have enough information to create and execute a plan. And I know we kind of bounce around a little bit. Sometimes we're talking about marketing, and we're going to talk even more today about digital marketing. But the other side is sometimes it's just internal processes like recruiting and qualifying specific resources that you want to use internally to deliver your business. I'm going to, for sake of time, because I do want to give you a break, can we just take 10 minutes? And I'm going to apologize in advance for taking too much of your time today, but I'm going to, because Nazim's going to come in at 4:30 and he'll probably finish by 5:30. After he's done, I'll just want to spend a few minutes with you to kick off this next activity that you're going to do. And then if I shut up now and give you 10 minutes of a break, then I can come back. And I'm just going to show you the slides and generally describe what I want you to be thinking about this week when you review chapters 8 and 9. But mostly it's in the slides on virtual communities and law and taxation. Okay, so take 10 minutes. I'll get back on at 10 after 4. And we'll continue just again this overview of chapter 8 and 9, and then Nazim should be joining us. Okay, ciao.
I'm sorry I missed it. Do we have 10 minutes break?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
All right, so welcome back. So we're gonna just do a quick review of two topics. The first is just a reset on where we are in terms of this class and our projects. And then these topics are yet additional modules that kind of plug into your idea. For any chapter that we've gone through in this class, I need for you guys to think about how you're going to apply it to your project. And I might even have an activity in the near future where you're actually going to just go through each chapter and summarize what is relevant in its application to your project. Of course, that would be beyond the activities, but the activities are specific applications. So in the beginning, you're identifying specifically, this is 2.0 mostly, what is that target audience? You have to know them, because now that you know them, now you can have specific tactics to attract, convert, and retain those. All of these other elements of business process that we've just gone through today give you the specific an exercise of having to identify specifically what it is. When you talk about selling to business, you have to be considerate of that relationship. What are you doing with them that makes the job easier, better, faster, cheaper? Take out the friction. Just like you do with a buyer in the selling to consumer mode, you want to make it as easy as possible for them to buy from you. So I've just reviewed, kept the slides in there just to keep you coming back to what are the most important attributes within those chapters that you should be considering. Now, the law and taxation is really, it's a critical element of any business. And especially if you go online, there are some unique challenges. So I'm just going to buzz through some slides real quickly just to introduce these words and concepts to you. But you need to go back through the chapter and go back through these slides and try to consider how in your business, and this is probably mostly for if you're looking to go online and you're historically a brick and mortar business, like maybe Flying Tiger, or maybe My Food if you're a startup. What do you have to consider when you're starting up? And law and taxation are very, very critical parts of the business. And I'm going to start off here. This is just my added value to this chapter. The ideas in law and taxation are very simple, but the execution, the implementation, the exercising of, following the right rules and knowing what the regional laws are and your tax liabilities in doing business. Sometimes it's buying and selling from a supplier, and sometimes it's buying and selling to your end users, or sometimes it's just having employees. All of these, any activity you have, you don't know. You don't know what the rules are. I went to Bangalore, India 5 years ago for the first time. I didn't know anything about India. I could barely, I could pick it out on a map. I'm not that stupid. But India is broken up into a bunch of states, and each state, just like the United States, has its own collection of laws. And no matter where you go, you need to know, where are you? We call that a jurisdiction. Where am I, and what are the rules? What are the laws? And what are the authorities that I have to engage with, that I make sure that I'm keeping my nose clean. I'm doing the right thing, because I don't want to end up in jail. or I don't want my business to be closed down because I'm not following the rules. Now, some rules are gray zone rules. You know, maybe you pay attention, maybe you go across the street at the crosswalk, or maybe you jaywalk because it's just faster to get where you're going. Business is kind of the same. Some of them are like little jaywalking. You break a little rule here or there, no big deal, because the penalties aren't going to kill you. But you have to know what the penalties are to know if you're going to take a risk by avoiding a particular rule. I'm not going to be moral or ethical implementist here. I'm just telling you that if you want to run a business or be responsible for a business, you have to know what these things are. And furthermore, I'm telling you, you'll never know, which is why I put the slide in here. The first two things, if you're going to start an operation, you hire a great attorney who has specific skills in that particular area of business. We call it SME, subject matter expert. Maybe their expertise is in online sales. Maybe their expertise is on food distribution. Maybe their expertise is on services and managing third-party resources. Whatever, you find an attorney who has that skill. By the way, it's not your uncle. It's not because you went to school with somebody and they have the skill. Now, if they have the skill, that's the number one attribute, but it's not because they're related to you or whatever. So be careful. There are many people that will be happy to provide advice when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. The second is accounting, financial advice. You need somebody who knows local tax law and accounting law, because you could end up setting up an operation or running your business. You're an online business, and now you're running it into a different geography that has different jurisdiction, different rules that apply. You need guidance to make sure that you're abiding by the local rules. This is the beauty of being an internet business in 2020 and not an internet business in 1999. In 1999, we didn't have experts all over the world who had experiences, 5, 10, 15 years of experience doing this, but now you do. So it's not like, finding some black swan somewhere or some, rare exotic bird. You just can Google it and find the expertise that you need. Take advantage of it. Don't start something without getting advice. And if you're working with a large organization, go inside that organization, find your local counsel, the lawyers, the corporate lawyers that represent the business, and make sure that you're abiding by the rules of that jurisdiction. Typically, in a company, they won't have the special skills inside the company. If they're big enough, they will, but typically they will hire somebody as an outside counsel to give you advice. But anybody worth their weight in salt would know that this is the first thing that you do. And I'm going to walk through some slides just so you know why that's the case. We have legal considerations, we have ethical and privacy considerations, and now those things are connected as GDPR and other regional privacy laws are on the books. That's what they say, on the books. So that now you and I as business people are responsible and obliged to follow those rules. We don't want to screw that up. So we would get a GDPR expert as an example and have them advise us as to how we should be handling our customers' data. Tax and notices, I'll explain and give you examples of that. And the last is intellectual property. So we have information that is either confidential or patented or copywritten, and so it has protections for our benefit. Or other people have content that is potentially copyright protected or is patented, and we just need to know what the classification, what was the condition of that content, because we don't want to be like Apple and use, remember that railroad clock I told you about, and you Googled it and found out that they had to pay the Swiss railroad $22 million for a stupid logo for their clock on their phone. Why? Because some dumbass in Northern California didn't consider when they were doing their digital, content creation that in fact somebody else owned that. So, I mean, that's not an extreme example, because that happens all day, every day. and you see Samsung and Apple getting into battles around technology and patent coverage. Even in our business, we have our logo that we had to negotiate with a Swiss insurance company because our logo looked similar to their logo. And $50,000 later, we came to an agreement as to what markets we would be able to use our logos in and what information needed to surround that logo. I mean, it seems so esoteric, but when you get into business, this is what you do and what you have to deal with. And having the right attorneys guide you through this is very important. So I'm not going to spend too much more time. Just go through these slides though, and I've pulled out of, I think, what, 40 or 60 pages of the chapter, the things that are most important. If you're selling, you should understand that there are these elements of any transaction. Here's an example physically. So the words here, just to say, so the offer, that's your selling. You make an offer and you have explicit terms and conditions in that offer that your user can see. And then when the user clicks on it, puts it in the shopping cart, they're accepting that offer. So the presumption, and you have to have this in your system, is that they confirm they've read the terms of service or the conditions of that offer, and they're accepting that offer. And the last word here is consideration. Just think of that as payment. So it could be barter. Maybe you're doing something for them and they're doing something for you. That's kind of the extreme. But what's most common is you give them cash, or you give them money that comes out of your bank account and it goes to them in exchange for that product or service. So the consideration is the value, the valued thing that is exchanged for that product or service. These are just examples of warranty disclaimers that are critical. These are part of the notifications that as you're providing your service, just like Zoom does, when I click that button and says, this meeting is being recorded, that's essentially a notification. It's a legal notification that's required. If I'm going to record you participating in this online video conference, you need to know that. It's Zoom's responsibility. It's my responsibility, but Zoom provides it as part of their service to say, hey, this meeting is being recorded. So if you don't mind, you'll stay in the conference call. If you do mind, you'll get out of the conference call. But it's not, so you would have to opt in by staying or opt out by leaving. There's a terms of service called TOS, terms of service. This is when you sign up for something. Usually there's a multi-page, unfortunate that you have to be a lawyer to understand a lot of it. And hopefully governments are going to continue to engage themselves to force businesses to provide terms of service that are, one, reasonable, and where they're not unreasonable, that they get engaged and they start regulating those businesses more closely. Did any of you read your terms of service when you signed up for Facebook? No, of course not, because they essentially have a monopoly on this social media platform. So you either play by their games or you don't. Did you read your Google terms of service when you signed up for Gmail? No, no. So there's a natural monopoly that has evolved from some of these major players, and that's why you see governments chasing down Amazon and Google and Facebook, appropriately so, because you and I don't have the power to influence them, but it's important that from a legal standpoint that we have these relationships. Not important, it's just a matter of fact. So in terms of intellectual property, we have a lot of things to consider. These 4 categories. Copyright. So if I wrote something, I wrote a song, or if I wrote a poem, or I painted a picture, then that's copyright material. And there are different rules in different jurisdictions about how copyright materials are preserved and protected. So in the United States, as an example, if I write a song, that song is protected for some period of time. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I think it's 75 years or something. But in Europe, within the EU construct, which by the way is only executed when each individual government of the 27, now 26, I forget the number, countries sign on to those specific agreements. But it's really not, there's no EU. The EU is just a kind of a framework. There's actually, each country has its own laws and jurisdiction, and then the responsibility for the power, they call it, the control of those rules within their jurisdiction. So we have copyright, we have patents. Patents are kind of strange beasts in that they're not the same universally. In the United States, for example, you can patent a process, and in Europe, you cannot patent a process. And again, I'm using Europe generally, but it's within the EU construct. It's just not the way that it's set up. So again, this becomes very complicated very fast. Generally speaking, it's very easy to understand. But when you want to patent a particular thing, you have to understand what the jurisdictions are that you want it patented and preserved and protected in what regions. And because there's no such thing as like an international patent. There are patents that can be recognized internationally, but you have to have a geography by geography relationship to ensure that that is protected. Same thing with trademarks and service marks and trade secrets. So trade secrets are different than patents or copyrights. So if I have a document that describes how my business runs, I will want to put on that document confidential information. And anybody I give that document to, I want them to sign a separate contract that says, you will not share my confidential information, or I get your first 3 babies, you know, or whatever. You put the penalty in the agreement so that it is enforceable, that there's some teeth in it, as they say. So so just know that there are different ways to protect your important, valuable information, and it gets managed different through different vehicles. But I'll go over this stuff more now. There is an international organization that tries to keep these things together. It's called the WIPO, the World International Intellectual Property Organization, and they have consortiums and with the different jurisdictions around the world to try to keep things normalized. Now I don't have time to go through the rest of this, and somebody just clicked on, and my guess is it's Nazim. Nazim, did you join us?
Hey, yeah, I don't know. I could mute myself. Yes, it's me. So, but
great.
I think we have 3 more minutes, so it's all right.
Okay,
I'll
great.
wait.
All right. So I'm just going to whip through these. So the next topic is the next chapter, and that's virtual communities. And actually, Nazim will talk about these as it relates to digital marketing strategies. But I mean, you guys know this already. You know that the evolution of these different platforms continues to change. And as digital marketing experts, we need to know what's out there, and more specifically, where is it out there? Let me click on this. It depends on where you are in the world, who's using what social media or digital media platforms, because you as the marketing strategist or tactician need to know which ways that you're going to go after your target market. This goes back to Activity 2.0. Why it's so critical that you know who your target market is. You know exactly where they live and exactly what they do. You look at the demographics and the psychographics. What geography are they in? And this is on the technical side. We've talked about the need to know what kind of devices they use. Are they mostly on mobile? Are they mostly on their laptop? I have to think about what's the real estate that I'm going to be delivering my message to. And if the content that I'm providing is substantial, I mean, whether it's a YouTube video or whether it's a big picture or a model or some example of my product or service, I have to think about, well, if my delivery device is a phone, am I going to get their attention? Is it properly configured for that particular real estate? And what else are they going to be doing on their phone? How would I be getting to them? Would it be via Google search? Is that, or was it because they're scrolling through their Facebook, because they're in between meetings at work and they're just kind of killing time? Whatever, we think about this in the context of how do we touch and reach our customers? And another way to consider this is that customer journey that we talked about. At what point in time am I having what kind of relationship with my target market? And what's the most common, practical, effective way of maximizing that touch point with that user? So I just have more data about this, blah, 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 blah. So if I could, I'm just going to jump ahead and give the floor to Nazim. He's one of your colleagues, alumni of UNYP. He left what I thought, he was very bright when he left, but I would have to say that he's much brighter now. Watching his experiences as he's really, and I will say he's real, I'm not just blowing smoke at you, Nazim, because
Just call me the OG. Just
he's really a great, he exemplifies what I think is for any of you when you leave the university. And I don't even think he knew this when he left, what was going to happen to him. But you have to become like crazy about something. And it doesn't matter what it is, but you have to just become maniacally crazy about it. And I don't think there's another student who I've seen graduate who is as crazy about their topic as Nazim is to digital marketing and understanding everything he could understand. And every day is a new day for him. And he wakes up like a baby. I don't mean that derogatorily, but just like with absorbing information and wanting to become even.
My life is pretty boring. It's not as fun, but it's good.
This sounds more exciting than it is.
Yeah.
but I'm not joking at all, though. I think it's that intensity, which is what I do in a separate class that I have taught before, career development. Do what you love, and then you're not working a day in your life. So enough said. Nazim.
Sure. Do you want me to jump
together,
into? Yeah. Do you want me to jump into the nitty-gritty details, or have a forward, sort of a preface?
However you'd like to do it.
Okay, cool.
Your time.
Yeah, I can see all the excited faces and turned off webcams in this class. Crazy time.
I beg them to stay smiling, but it's a long day. They have three-hour classes in a row, and that's just brutal. So I'm not.
That's insane.
I'm not giving too much shit.
9 hours of Zoom calls. Jesus.
I know, right?
Holy.
It's bad enough to sit in a classroom.
Fuck, that's crazy. Anyway, all right, I'll try to keep it a bit more interesting. So my name's Nazim. I graduated from UNYP. Was that 6 years ago? 7 years ago. So I was never good at finance, business, administration, or anything like that. But after graduation, I took in my 4th year, I took an internship in a company doing marketing, and I can't say I felt in love, but it was like a thing I could tolerate at least. I developed my love for marketing much later. So, but yeah, I finished an internship in that company, and then a friend of mine told me, "Hey, look, I mean, you can make 5 times as much selling the same service to Americans and other sort of Western countries, and work online from the comfort of your home." I mean, now we hate to sit at home, but back in the day, not having to go to a specific place or whatever, after some time working at that place where I was having an internship, seemed like a very rad idea. So I started working with clients online, and it sort of grew to an agency. We've worked with 7-figure businesses, 8-figure businesses. Currently have clients in Dubai, Germany, America, had clients in Japan. So it's pretty cool. That's definitely interesting, especially when I go visit them. But the day-to-day life stays the same. A lot of data, a lot of learning and studying new things, because as you can imagine, the internet world is always changing, is always shifting, and I mean, we specifically specialize in social media advertising, and every day there's TikTok, there's this, there's that. I honestly, you know, is this being recorded? Can I curse or?
Curse, and it's being
You know,
recorded.
you remember that I'm too old for that shit in the, what was that movie? I'm too old for that shit. I feel like the same way, you know, relatively young, but still I can't keep up with all these new apps that are popping up, but they present great opportunity for us and for our clients. But anyway, so basically that's a little bit about me. Jeff has invited me this time to talk to you, but I think I've presented already multiple times. And he sort of gave me a rundown of what you guys doing. And I'm assuming you are broken up into or down into teams, right? Is that it? Good. So, okay, good. So I can specifically talk about marketing and sales, right? So I'm just going to give you a rundown of the sort of a blueprint that we run our new clients through, and even existing clients every quarter or every 6 months or so, just to make sure that we're sort of checking all the boxes, all the important boxes, the elements as far as their marketing, advertising, and sales go. And then if we have time, I'll try to keep it down to 15-20 minutes, and then if we have time, we can we can take it to the teams and speak with each one of you. So Jeff already included the slide for me. You all have projects, right? You all have businesses, and the goal for the ultimate goal for your business, obviously I'm biased. I'm speaking from point of view of marketing and advertising and sales, but for me, like the biggest goal is to be profitable, to make money, to bring in new clients. And then there's always this question, right? How do I do that? You have tons of competitors, and you believe that you have something cool and new and unique, but unless you know how to convey that, people are not going to see it, and then you're going to fall. Like that company, Jeff, do you know that company, the Netflix, sort of like, what was that, Quibi or something, that folded 6 months ago?
Right, huge. Of the woman who founded or was the lead developer of eBay, Meg Whitman, and Jeffrey Katzenberg spent, I think it was over $1 billion on this platform that it basically was a platform for like almost like a TikTok of simplified reporting, messages, storytelling, because they thought that was the new kind of ADD amount of information that people want to hear a story about. But now they're BK.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone. Boom.
But basically, they were in love with their idea, but the marketplace
nobody else was.
not. Yeah, exactly. So you don't want to, sort of repeat their fate. So basically, the 5 pillars, 5 elements I'd like to talk about today with you guys are, first of all, getting specific and crystal clear on your target audience. Everything starts with your target audience, not even probably your product as much as your target audience, because it doesn't matter what you sell, mops or some new cool app or some new idea, someone's got to consume it. All right. Then we're going to move on to USP, which stands for unique selling proposition. In most industries you're going to go to, they're going to be packed. You're going to have at least 1, 2, 3, 4 strong competitors, maybe even more. And the USP, we actually have a marketing coaching program of our own, and USP is in the first module. Like the first video, first module is USP, because I mean, USP is the thing that's going to make your customer say, I'm going to go buy from Nazim, or I'm going to go buy from Jeff or Benjamin, and not from Jonah, or I'm just looking at the list now.
JT.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's USP. Then it's the irresistible offer, and irresistible offer is concerned with pricing strategies, warranty, guarantee, and basically everything that makes customers and clients go like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. So as long as the money is not an objection, is not an issue. And even in some cases, when even the money is an objection or an issue, if it's an irresistible offer, something that people like, people are going to go for it. They'll find ways to make it work, like open up the third Amex credit card, and you're Americans, Jeff. It's crazy. You can open a line of credit in America, like for $10,000 in 30 minutes. It's insane. Like we would actually have it in conferences. Not very proud of it, but for some clients and conferences in California, they would actually invite. That was sort of my idea, but I didn't know it was possible. And my clients were like, yeah, sure, we could do that. So they would invite like a person from a bank who would open right there at the conference, at the spot, a line of credit for $10,000 on their name, so they can go and invest in programs. So if the offer is good, if people are sold, they're gonna find ways to make it happen. The fourth thing is promotion strategies, and that's your website, how well it converts, your advertising strategy, if it's profitable, etc., etc. And then the fifth, something that is not discussed at all, especially for advertising and marketing. The fifth is retaining strategies, because one thing is to make someone buy once, but if you always rely on obtaining new clients, attracting new clients every time you have to make profit or revenue in your company, you're screwed, because the costs of acquiring new clients is always sky high. Like just imagine how much effort and time and money it takes to convince or pursue someone to do anything for you. Like just imagine like how much time it takes. Right? I always like to take it back to a dating analogy. Just imagine like how many dates or like how much knowing the person it takes to have like a good relationship with them, right? And then when you have something with that person, you want to keep having that relationship, right? I mean, for most people. So business is very much the same way. You want to establish a relationship, and then you want to reap the benefits of putting in the work, doing the legwork, attracting that client, indoctrinating that client into your brand identity, making them a client, making them a customer, and then keeping them around for as long as possible. And the best part is the money that they're going to pay you after that first initial time. Like second time they're going to pay you money, the third time, fourth time, all of that is going to be free. It's going to come free of charge. You don't have to pay extra to market to them, to place ads in front of them. That's it. They've become a client, and they're just going to keep paying you forever, right? Just imagine like if phone companies like Vodafone and others didn't have a good retaining strategy going for them. Like I've been a Vodafone client for 8 years now. Like ever since I touched down here in Prague, on the same day I got a Vodafone card, and I've been a client for the same number for 8 years now. And it's in the tens of thousands of dollars they made off of me, right? For the international calls, little things they try to squeeze in my bill that I didn't do, but I'm sort of closing my eyes on it because I don't have time to deal with it. Like all of those things, they're reaping the benefits of establishing that relationship with me with a client, and then that's it. Now imagine if Vodafone was crap and every like their customer lifetime value was like only 1 year, right? They would have to invest a lot more in advertising and marketing to bring in the same revenue, right? As they do with clients like me, who stays around for 8, 10, 15, 20 years. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about the clear target audience. I changed. Jeff, do you think I should do like run through these points one by one and then engage people one by one, or I should just blast through them at once and then?
If you could, I don't know if this agenda item list deviates from the inventory, the audit that you do with your clients that you described in that first video.
It's very close. It's very close. Yeah.
So maybe if you could just take a minute, and when you engage with a client, maybe you could describe an exampled client. And for those of you who are, the rest of you, this is why I'm asking this question. What he does is he does this thing called an audit. So he's got a documented list of best practices, if you will, things that he has learned over time, that if you do this and you do this and you do this and you do this, then you're typically going to be successful. And so he'll go in to try to identify with his potential clients, what things are they doing right, or what things aren't they doing at all, or what things are they doing wrong. And that gives him a blueprint as to how he should handle that particular customer. And the reason why I think this is valuable is that audit, that template, is something that you guys either could do or should do or will do when you go work somewhere, whether you're doing it for your own startup business or you're going to work for an organization. You have to first find out, what do people who are great at doing this, what do they do? Because we don't know. We're not Nazim. We don't do this every day for the last 7 years. And so you go to experts and they show you best practices, how to do it. And that's hopefully what we learn from. And then as we do it ourselves, we become better and better at it.
Yeah, okay, cool. So let me just run through them all at once and then we can talk about it. It's in my best interest that during the consultation call, client is messing up and fucking up on as many of these as possible, because that means we can actually get them results like super fast. Because if we go through these points and the client seems to have it all, I mean, it's very hard for us to propose anything meaningful, something that's just going to blow their mind and say, okay, great, this is awesome, right? The more things we can improve on, the better for our pocket as well, because we also pocket the percentage of profits, additional revenue that we bring in for client. And a lot of these things, they may seem hard and difficult, but really it's very easy to improve them. So the first of all is the clear target audience. So I'm going to be actually telling you guys and bringing some very awesome examples from at least I'll try to bring to tell you to bring up as many interesting examples as possible with our clients for each case. So first of all is the clear target audience. So with clear target audience, the best audience you will ever have is the people who are the easiest to serve and who are going to pay you the most money, obviously, who also see the most value in your services. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about your services. Your audiences can be wide, they can be narrow, but generally you want to keep your audiences not too narrow, like not too narrow, right? Unless you're selling yacht or something, you want to keep it at a very solid, decent size. So basically you can scale. For example, I actually had a consultation call today with someone in Dubai, no joke, like literally it was at 2 p.m. So basically he came to us and we had to turn that person down. Why? So that person basically came to us and said, hey, look, we're a consultant and would like you to devise a marketing plan and advertising strategy for us. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what's your service? What's your business? And get this, he tells me this: we help companies where the CEO is an old man and who wants to step down from the CEO position and inherit it to his son or daughter, and will basically help people do that transition. So it's not just any sort of transition, but specifically like father to son or father to daughter, more so father to son. I'm like, yeah, well, okay, how many people do you know like that in Dubai or like all around the world? Is that in the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of pieces? No, it's in the hundreds. I'm like, well, I mean, there's no point in creating an advertising strategy to target like 300 people. Like,
Just call them.
Exactly. So I was like, you just need an outbound strategy. Just pick up the phone and dial, send
You need
out
a
some
phone.
cold emails. So, right?
You charge them for that advice?
No.
Use your phone.
But sometimes a big audience is not good either, because this is like, I'm not going to take credit for this, but this was a very genius move from a competitor of ours. So basically, our competitor is a marketing agency, and what they had their clients do, basically they had a marketing program, and it was a marketing program for all sorts of coaches and consultants, like coaches for dating, for health, for fitness, for business, all sorts of stuff. And then when when those guys changed their marketing agency and our competitors stepped in, they basically, and these guys at a time, they were serving like 10 different target audiences. Like I told you, health coaches, dating coaches, like whatever, business coaches. And that guy that did something that seemed super mad to me at first. He said, you remove all the target audiences you work with and you only keep one audience, which is business coaches. I was like, this is mad, because like you're basically saying work only with 10% of your clients. Well, what I didn't know, and I didn't have the insight in their company, what I didn't know was that 50% of their best paying clients were business coaches anyway, right? And they also figured out that if they can just double down on their branding for business coaches, it would be a win. And also, like most importantly, their customer support and customer service wouldn't also be torn between 10 different sorts of coaching business, and they could just streamline their trainings and their programs for one specific avatar, which is business coaches, who've always been the best paying clients to begin with, right? So this example shows that it's not always good to have like as big of an audience as possible, right? So so you have to think about who I can make the most profit off, and who I can also serve the easiest. Who's like the best client, who pays a lot, pays on time, and doesn't cause too much trouble. So that's number one. Number two is USP. Again, USP is something that's going to make people buy from Benjamin and tell all the rest of you to go to hell, right? So unique, the U in the USP stands for unique, right? You all have selling propositions, but it needs to sound unique, even if it's not unique, just between us, right? Even if it's not unique, it needs to sound so. It needs to sound exclusive. And what people confuse when it comes to USPs is they bring up some features like, well, our app does this feature, does this like unique feature. But a feature is not a USP, right? A feature also needs to be presented in a way that it's a big benefit for people, and then that's a USP. To give you an example, in our business, in our own business, we have a live chat support, but we don't just tell clients, hey, our USP is that we have live chat support, and we legit like have a very good live chat support, and other competitors, they also have live chat support, but it's not really live chat support. It's presented like that, but it's actually like people taking tickets and get back to people, but we actually have live chat support. But we don't say that, what I just told you now, right? The way we present it is, let's say the way we present it is, look, John, for example, the client is John. John, by looking at the track record for our most successful clients and for our most successful business practices, and at our competitors, we realize that the biggest differentiator in our client success is quick feedback from the coach. Or we even present it in a way that in a more scientific way, right? When there's a client and coach dynamic, the most important is not even the content. John, if you need content, good content, there are tons of other people like us who provide content. Hell, you can go into YouTube and find a lot of things we're teaching you online for free. What matters is how we personalize that content for you, right? And for that, we have this very unique feature. Now we say feature, which is super on timely live chat support. And that's what makes our clients successful. That's what makes our clients make their money back that they invest in our program within 2 weeks. So if I just blurt it out there that, hey, we have live chat support, he'll be like, okay, fine. I mean, I guess that's good. But when you make a case out of it and you tell them why it's a great feature and you tell them how it affects their bottom line and how it positively impacts the overall image, then that's a whole different story, right? So you got to have your unique selling proposition. A unique selling proposition could be a unique feature, or it can be even like a part of your history, honestly. Like one of our USPs is this. We do run a marketing coaching company, but a lot of our competitors got in there. I feel like I'm pitching my services to you guys. That's great. I love it. A lot of our competitors started their marketing coaching businesses because as their sort of like primary source of income, right? They got into this business to make money. But with us, me and my partner, we didn't get to start coaching people right away. We position ourselves as behind the scenes guys. We've done it all behind the scenes without our names being on paper, on websites, or anything like that. For tons of other coaches, we've made the money. We've had a bit of like a short moment of fame. And now we're sort of like pulling back the kimono and like we're showing you all these tactics and these strategies, but not because we want to make money, not because we depend on this business to make money. We come from a place of abundance. We come from a place of having done it all, and more so, we just want to share with the world, right? So who are you going to trust? A person who comes from a place of abundance and who's like super ninja expert and doesn't even want your money, or a person who needs your money, who's gotten in that business to make money in the first place? Like obviously you're going to choose the first, right? Because the intent we have is more clear, it's more clean, right? It's more sort of what do you call that, positive and what do you call it, what do you call that word, altruistic or altruistic, whatever you call that, right? Like we all know we also started this business to make money, but it's a very nice way to present ourselves and to sort of like draw a line between us and our competitors. So that's the USP. Irresistible offer. Now, irresistible offer is your pricing strategies, is your warranty strategies, and basically everything that makes the client think that this is an amazing offer. They want only the best for me. And when the offer is really good, the client almost even when they're buying, they almost feel as if they're taking zero risk when buying your services. So like a great guarantee we have is when you invest in our marketing program, and our prices start in thousands of dollars and go up to tens of thousands of dollars. Like when people make a decision like that, I mean, it's obviously a scary decision, right? And what we say basically is, look, we're going to keep working with you, and we're never going to stop working with you until you make all of that money back in your bank account with our help. Like this is like to put aside all of the like sales tactics, sales gimmicks, and tricking people to give you their money. Like this guarantee alone has made our job so much easier on sales calls. Like it's in the contract. It's in the contract that we're going to keep working with you until you make every red cent that you invested with our program back. Like you'd be an idiot to not start working with us. Plus, we have like tons of testimonials, tons of positive reviews on our website and on the internet. And this is like this guarantee that we give makes the offer irresistible, right? So guarantees one, pricing, maybe like being cheaper or more affordable or best bang for your buck can also make the offer irresistible, right? The other thing that can make the offer irresistible is, again, features, right, that are in high demand in your industry, like developing a nice USP and kind of like honing down on your audience is not enough. Developing a good product is not enough. Then you also have to package that product in a super nice way that makes people go like, okay, this is great. I'm gonna take you up on this offer. So that's 3. Number 4, promotion strategies. When I first started, this was my forte, and I hated it. I hate promotion strategies because it's like the most technical, pain in the ass, boring part. Like it's the most stressful part. It's people giving you $100,000 per month and telling you, okay, make this $1 million. It's very stressful, and if it doesn't go the right way, if things go south, there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. But you can't grow a business without a promotion strategy. So basically, guys, promotion strategy is very simple. It's traffic, and by traffic I mean visitors who are going to click on your website, who are going to click on your pages, who are going to click on your advertising campaigns, and then it's the funnel, right? And funnel is basically what's going to convert them into a paying customer. A funnel is if you're buying a lipstick, if you see a lipstick advertising, you click on that ad, the next page you go on, you land on the add to cart page this is where the funnel begins. You add that lipstick and then says, hey, by the way, would you like to also add the whatever you call that thing, for the eyes, yeah, at 50% discount. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, that thing. And then we say, okay, would you also like to add an eyeliner, right, eyebrow liner at 30% discount, right? So then this funnel, and in your mind and in people's minds, what would have been is a very seemingly easy purchase of $30 for a lipstick actually turns into $150, right, worth of products and goods that we just sold to you. So that's the promotion strategy, right? Specifically for our clients, because like we basically work with Instagram influencers and other coaches and consultants like that. With them, those people sell their knowledge. And what we do basically a funnel that works really well right now is we create these free webinars where our client basically presents basically some good free content, right, that you can just sign up for that training and watch for free. And then in the end, we say, hey, this is only the tip of the iceberg. If you'd like to learn more, then whatever, buy our course, right? So for example, if the course is how to defend yourself, like a martial arts course, for example, the webinar itself is going to be about like just one punch you can do to sort of like to free yourself from a choke, one punch to free yourself from a choke. Like that's like the training is about that. And then we say, hey, what if they choke you not by the throat, but by some other place? There's a whole program about that. Get it, right? So that's a webinar, basically. That's a webinar funnel, which is a big part of the promotion strategy. Now, last but not the least, retaining a strategy. LTV stands for lifetime value, like customer lifetime value. And this is the thing that I told you about Vodafone. And I have a story for you about increasing the customer lifetime value as well. And it's basically how we help the company to go from $300,000 per month in sales to now $1 million or $1,200,000 or so per month in sales by basically they had a pretty funny case, because this was, I think, the easiest money I've ever made, because they had the clear target audience, they had their USP, they had the irresistible offer, they had a promotion strategy, but they had one big problem. Like they would enroll and sell this one offer they have for $3,000. They would sell like loads of it. Like they would sell it to 100 people every month. And every month they would sell to 100 people, and every month they would make around 300 grand. But then I thought to myself, like, okay, guys, like, and it was a business consulting program. I was like, okay, guys, like, do you think, and the program goes for 2 months. I'm like, okay, guys, do you think people could derive a lot of value from working with you past those 2 months? They're like, okay. They're like, of course, we're the shit. Like, we're awesome. Like, they should be working with us for the next 2 years, and they'll still get the value. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's going to be valuable for the client. Fine. I'm like, well, why don't you offer them something? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, well, let's put together a continuity program. By the way, I told them all this after they signed a contract with me. Like, all the ideas come after signing the contract. Like, okay, cool. Let's create a continuity program that's going to go for a year, and it's going to be relatively affordable. It's only going to be $1,000 per month. And that's it. They're like, okay, cool. So we created that program. And then I go to the sales department and I say, all right, guys, if you enroll 100 people every month, that means 100 people every month graduate from your program, right? So what I want you to do is pick up the phone when those people are graduating from your program. I want you to offer them this thing. And we also worked on the USP and the offer irresistibility for that product as well. I was like, only like very simple payments of $1,000. Like, we also had the USP, and the USP was, hey, do you know what makes successful people successful? Accountability, ongoing accountability. Even Steve Jobs, or whatever the hell, I don't know. That was a quick Google. Even Steve Wozniak has a mentor, even after 20 years. They're like, oh yeah, Steve Jobs has a mentor. I should have too. Not Steve Jobs. That was Bill Gates. So basically that was the USP. Jeff, you want to say something?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, good. So basically we started selling that thing at 40%, right? So out of every 100 people who bought the $3,000 program, later on, 40 would go to also buy the year-long program. And by that, we increased the customer lifetime value by a lot. I mean, if you think about it, we increased the customer lifetime value for that 40% that was upselling from $3,000 to now $16,000, because they were paying $1,000 for the next 12 months. And after a year, and after like a full year, they have ran like 48 people through that program. And 48 people, 48? No, not 48, sorry, 480. 480 times 12,000. I mean, you make the math. That's a lot of money. That's like a lot of money. The only thing I regret is not asking for more. But it was very easy, right? And that's the magic of retaining clients for longer and extending and increasing their customer lifetime value. I'd rather do that than set up like all the ads, all the pixels, all the web pages and stuff like that. Right. So it's a very quick win as well if you're going to be smart about it. So guys, I have 25 minutes or so until my time runs out. Jeff sent me names of your teams. Let's just spend 5 to 10 minutes or so on each team and see, like, after all of that I just said right now, if you have any questions, or like what's that one or two things you found valuable. So Shaw Academy, let's start with you guys. And you can unmute yourself, like yourselves, like all team members.
Yep.
Hey.
There are two of us here today from the Shaw Academy, me and Xenia. So, what do you want to hear, actually?
Well, tell me about your program, Academy for what? I mean, yeah. What is it?
So basically, Shaw Academy is a privately owned online education organization. It was founded in 2013. and talking about our unique selling proposition. It's like it's based around providing high quality standard of education with an increased emphasis on accessibility and affordability. It's like we looked at our competitors like Lynda.com and Coursera, and they tend to be more expensive for a similar standard of teaching, which sets our Shah Academy apart from our competitors. So the business really currently sits in a highly profitable area of the
Cool.
market.
Okay. What allows you to be cheaper? Like Coursera and others, they're charging a lot of money for their courses, and you say you can charge less, right?
Yes, for like the same standard of education.
Okay, cool. What do you guys think is your USP? Like, what makes you guys unique and stand out from Coursera and Udemy, for example?
So like
the price, like you
yeah,
said.
providing a cheaper price for the same standard of education.
Okay, cool. Do you have a promotion strategy in place? Because I don't know if you guys know, but you have two customers. You have the customers who are going to buy your course, but you also have the customers in the people who will have to come to your course and create courses on there, right? So how are you going to attract course creators, and how are you going to attract people who are going to buy that course? Have you thought about that?
Not really, I guess.
Okay, but by looking at Udemy and Coursera, do you have any ideas, anything that comes to your mind?
No, well, we haven't discussed about promotion actually.
Okay, what have you discussed so far?
Just the value chain of activities and making like the opportunities and weaknesses we have.
Cool. So what are the opportunities, strengths and weaknesses that you guys have?
Um,
I'm not trying to be a hard ass. I'm just curious to hear about your project.
I'm curious too.
Okay, if we start with the strengths, Shah Academy has diverse courses subjects, like they offer marketing, photography, many business-related courses, and at the same something like nutrition. It features video recorded courses and offers the scheduled webinars. They have like interactive courses and strong business partners like Adobe, T-Mobile, Vodafone, and they teach their courses in many different languages like French, Spanish, German, Chinese, as I remember Portuguese as well. So they already have a global reach and customer accessibility. And on the other side, when we are talking about weaknesses, like we found that their accreditation, for example, was withdrawn in 2019, and they have a really poor customer service, like slow response time. It's their main problem that it's almost impossible to cancel the customer subscriptions. They do not react to customer concerns, and there are many problems with the courses, like time flexibility, and you actually can take only 2 classes per week, which makes it really inconvenient. And also they have bad business ethics, like unexplainable charges, a lot of spam and misinformation.
Okay. Well, what you could do actually is I see this a lot for SaaS businesses and apps. You could hire bloggers to write articles with headlines like why Shaw Academy versus Coursera, like what's better, right? And then that blog post, which looks like an honest review, and I guess probably it should be an honest review, right?
Yes.
Right? They would compare. And then what you could do is you could send traffic to that page, to that blog post, and create an aware, and with this you could shoot two birds with one stone, because you would let people know what your USP is, right? What makes you unique and stand out from your competitors. And it also makes for a good promotion strategy, right? So that's an idea.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, do you have any questions?
Not really. Thank you for your advice.
No problem. Jeff, do you want me to
Yeah, just keep clicking through. Go to the next guy.
All right.
But don't, if
Okay,
things are going too slow, just click on to the next guys.
Okay, cool. All
This
right.
survival of the fittest.
All right. Modri Salon. Modri.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one from that team here.
All right.
All right. So our business is basically focusing on one employee kind of business. So he is also the business owner. It's a hair salon, which located in Prague 1. And basically right now he's struggling due to the lack of customers, because before that, because before the COVID, he was focusing on tourists. And right now, as looking at his marketing, which is almost nothing, it's basically he has no market presence anywhere. He doesn't do no even like Instagram, Facebook, nothing. But he's really talented, and we just want to get his like business out there, like to be noted by people.
Okay, so how do you plan on doing that?
Well, first of all, we're actually thinking of building like the brand trust, like we were explaining it today, like through articles, like writing articles about his story, about his shop, and like his brand story and his journey, like how he started the business and all that stuff. Also, we wanna like create Instagram accounts to actually show his work to the people.
So who's your target audience? Okay, this is actually great, right? Who was your target audience, and who do you want to make your target audience now?
So before the COVID, and it was like divided 50-50, maybe 60 to tourists who were coming to Prague, basically, speaking only English, and expats who were working in Prague and speaking only English. So that was before. And now we want to like move it to 100% people, expats who speak only English and work in Prague. So we have like build the loyalty.
Prague residents.
Exactly, who speak only English, because he speaks English. That's his like.
Is he good? I might need his contacts.
Yeah, I can give it to you. No, he's. Okay. I mean, like you said, the unique proposition is basically like he has the Tony and Guy experience, but at a budget cost.
Damn, that's that. No, that's a good fucking USP right there, guys. I love me some Tony and Guy experience at the
Skoda prices.
Budget. Yeah, it's the Kaderjistvi prices. Okay, probably a bit more than that, but cool. All right, that's awesome. You nailed it there. This is great. I like it. Okay, what's your promotion strategy?
Well, we're thinking about actually leveraging a local SEO. Like, you know, there's this Google business and we want it to appear. Like, for example, if somebody actually Googles hair coloring in Prague, right? So we'd be the first ones to appear or something. So because he's like really good at hair coloring for a lower price as well. So that kind of stuff, like, and I don't know, just
you could run ads. You could run local ads on Facebook. That's cool. Actually, a friend of mine did that specifically for beauty salons. He did that pretty well. You could do Facebook ads. That basically you can even in the Facebook ads targeting options, you can actually target expats that live in a certain location. There's a targeting option like that. And
that's what I was thinking. With like Prague Morning, for example, the newspaper, or expats.cz, we're thinking like target those because that's what expats actually read.
Yeah, that's also like an interest that people could be reading. You could obviously also insert ad placements and banner ads on Expats TZ and other platforms, like sort of like news portals and stuff like that for expats.
All right.
But if I could add to this one, because this is universal to everybody, if they have a specific digital marketing strategy and they're developing tactics related to placement, what specificity do you give to the platforms, Nazim? And then which platforms give you which kinds of options? For example, Facebook has a different ad platform strategy and tool than Google Ads, as an example.
Yeah, sure. So with Google, it's more targeted. It's better always, especially for local businesses, like get a haircut in Prague. If you target that keyword on Google, like that's awesome, man. That's as targeted as you can get. The problem with that is the search volume. And a lot of people who get haircuts, they don't, I mean, for them, it's just something that they see on the internet. They're like, oh, cool, I'll bookmark this, right? I always need a hairdresser in Prague. Well, not so much recently, but I would always need one. But I would never go on Google. It was always a subconscious thing, right, in the back of my mind. So from this perspective, Facebook ads is much better, right? For the longevity, it's much better, and you can capture a lot more people because maybe in a given month on Google in Prague, only like 30 expats will ever go on Google and write how to, I want to get a haircut, like English speaking hairdresser in Prague. And with those 30 people, you may end up converting 10 or 15, which is relatively high for the sample size, for the audience size, like whatever, 40, 50% of people. But that's all you're going to get. But on Facebook, if you make it work, like tens of thousands of expats that live in Prague, and if you make it work, I mean, it's going to pay off way more to go to those people in the long term, even if they're not going to want to get a haircut right there and then on that day. But if you're in the back of minds of 20,000 people, it's better than like a guaranteed, like whatever, 10, 15 people who come to your salon. I mean, ultimately you want to do both even, right? So I would say Google is for like the sniper approach, but that's limited. Like, yeah, I mean, exactly. Like with the sniper approach, you shoot, it's very precise, but there's a big reload time. I don't know if you play Call of Duty, but with a machine gun, you just, kind of like, and then those bullets catch a lot of people. And so that's Facebook ads for you.
I'm gonna replay something that you just said, because I think it's something that's happened over time that I don't know, people who are playing around in the market of digital media and advertising think about. But historically, it was only Google ad placement based on search. I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago. This is kind of where they got their history from. But the evolution of placement, if you consider the customer journey, people, this funneling, this from awareness and then engagement and conversion to customer and then retention and upselling of existing customers, this has multiple touch points. And it's not simply that buyer model where I know what I want and I'm going and looking for it and I just want to execute that transaction as efficiently as possible. It ends up being more of a lifestyle engagement, so that I, as a seller of a product or a service, I need to be in the community of people who are talking about those things. And to grab a hold of that and say, okay, well, how is that different? I think Nazim's example of having a blogger blog about those Shaw Academy, and then having people who are interested in learning about online education and looking to influencers and thought leaders, going to those people and and learning from those people, that's going to influence my buying, not simply Googling that I'm looking for online education. And I think that that's not to be lost. I think that that's very important. So each of you would have to consider that when you talk about a digital marketing strategy and related tactics, that you're really trying to get into that community. That's where virtual communities, this chapter that I just skipped through too quickly, is so relevant. But and you guys don't have enough time in this class to really get great at anything, but at least you're aware of the necessity to understand that each platform has its strengths and weakness, and you have to think about what your objective is and how you might leverage that.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, agreed. So my food is up next.
Yeah, hi.
Good evening.
Hey guys, what's up?
So to introduce like my food, what it is, it's basically a fast food but done healthy. And the question is whether we can
Fast
do it better.
food but unhealthy? You sure it's not the other way around?
But healthy, not unhealthy.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically what we're doing is that we're taking advantage of the situation of COVID. And because many companies or many restaurants that are doing like these organic foods, they charge a really big price. So we're going to charge adequate price, a lower price. And how we're going to do that, it's basically that because every other restaurant has to pay their, servants, the seats, the big, size rooms, but we're just not going to have anything like that. We're just going to have the chefs, we're just going to have the kitchen, and then we're going to have like this drive-through window and a pickup place, and also partner up with the likes of Dameidl and these companies to like deliver the food so we can reduce the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of our main USPs is that we make the food or the experience, customer experience, we make it personalized. So, and we do that by using technology. We're thinking of making an app which is gonna collect the customer data, and then we can target recommendations and different strategies to people, personalized to each of them. And also we're gonna use the advantage of the organic and fresh food, because many restaurants, like if you're gonna come, there's only like a few foods that are usually gonna be like fresh, and the other ones are gonna be frozen, because nobody really buys those foods as frequently. But what we are gonna do, or how we're gonna achieve that our food is fresh, is that you're gonna have some menus, and then you can actually use the app to personalize your own food from the available ingredients, so no ingredients gets wasted. So that's how we're gonna use it up.
But have you ever thought why restaurants give frozen food? Maybe they do that for money reasons. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, definitely.
That you're going to pull it off financially?
Yeah, we thought about that. And I think one of the main thing is not going too big at the start. So like it's better to sell out like your little amounts than having so many remains. So that's what we were thinking, like to start a little slow and see. That's one of the threats as well. Like you never know like how many leftovers you're gonna have.
Right.
Allow me to speak. So our main market is also focused on the demographic of 15 to 35 years. We're also a small market that we're gonna start in Prague only as initial startup company. We will focus mainly on athletes, those who would like to have, healthy food. As one of my team members mentioned, the USP is to have the personalized healthy food. We also have, due to the pandemic, we abide by the regulations. We have takeaway or drive-through. So they would they can take it by their way. Like
the only thing I can say is I would check on those target like the age brackets, because when I was 15, 16, 18, I was eating pretty trash from what I remember. And now that I'm 20 something, like now I'm actually trying to get healthy. So I would say like for a healthy eating audience, you want to start from 25 and up, because until then you're just YOLOing it every weekend at the parties and just eating KFC buckets and whatnot. I mean, You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
but this is just
yeah.
per my personal opinion.
It is a good point. It is a good point. We thank you for this point. We also took into our measurements that for 15 years, some people have like, I'm not gonna call it obesity, but they're like, they want to change, their life, their habits, their eating habits. So they want to like go to eat healthy meals. So we are available for them as like they would be more willing to pay for us, as they're like still young and motivated, they still don't know a little bit, in marketing stuff. And that's why we try to, grab them to our field.
Got it. Interesting. All right. Do you have any questions to me specifically?
Maybe about
I do have one
marketing.
question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I do have a question for you for the live chat support. We could use this in our business, like startup business. But now the question is, how much do you hire for this, like live chat support?
$5 an hour. Depends where you hire.
No, how many people do you hire? Because, like, for example, the question is, how can you manage the information? It's live support. So a person is sending, another person is sending, and another customer.
Yeah,
is
obviously.
sending,
I mean, there are platforms like Odesk that will be for customer, like ticket style. There's a thing that's called, I'm not the one setting these things up. Intercom or something. That's like actual legit live chat support. And there's a system that shuffles and connects free operators to people who want to request support. And I mean, I don't know like specific volumes, but I would say, yeah, it depends on your volume. You want to start at least by hiring two people. Do you know this service in Prague actually very similar to what you guys do? Also not so much, although not so much because you want to make it like a restaurant, and those guys do like full food prep, like Fit Kitchen TZ. Fit Kitchen TZ. Like I was a customer of theirs for like 6 months, and they cook like healthy food, like healthy meals, and they bring you, like whatever, like 5 meals a day. They bring you like a full batch for 2-3 days, and you store them, and that's it. And those guys are pretty big now. And back then when they were starting, it was easy for me because I think actually the company is founded by a Russian. So I spoke Russian. So for me, it was like super, super nice to talk to their support and stuff also, like that's nice. But there was also this one guy who would take my calls, and like whenever I called, there was just this one person, and I think at the time they already had like 100+ clients. They sell on a subscription basis, right? It's a subscription service, and they had at a time they had 100+ people who were ordering food from them. There was also always just this one person on the phone. So I think one person can cover a lot of ground when it comes to customer support. Especially if it's not technical, like technical is the worst. If it's not technical, it's so easy.
I just have one final question to take from your time and from my colleague's question.
Yeah, quick.
It is great that you mentioned that you're using knowledge management to gain information about your competitors in your company. How can you like gain this? Like,
surveys. When they complete the order, you send out a survey. Yeah, surveys is the best thing. Yeah.
If I can interrupt here.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Something else you advised the last time you spoke with the class, which is simply brilliant, is look at the reviews of your competitors.
Yeah. We actually do that a lot. So let me just show you something interesting. Okay, let me.
Because they're complaining about their competitors and exposing their weaknesses, and you're a fool not to take advantage of that free public information.
I think I closed all the. Oh, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yeah. I have to allow you?
Yeah. You know how to do that?
I could probably figure it out.
You have to click on, this is a webinar. So you have to click on participants, and then next to my name, there's a more option. Oh man. All right. Well, See if you can do that, because I can show you something very.
But first he has to stop sharing, and then.
Oh yeah, okay.
You can see the.
Or there we go. Okay, I can do that. So cool. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so these guys are our biggest competitors. I mean, we started our program a long time, not so long time ago, like our personal business. But these guys have been around, and they're doing around $1 million a month. But like their Trustpilot reviews are so shit. Like 4.0 in a coaching industry is like low. Like you want to be at least 4.5, and that's the least. You want to be even as close to 4.8, 4.9. As close as possible. And like we're just like, my partner and I, we're like, this is our most favorite thing to do, is just to go to bed and just start reading through the all the comments people are leaving. Like, I was never told that you get kicked out of the Facebook group after 10 weeks. Now to our salespeople, we're like, tell them they get kicked out of the program, out of the Facebook group after the program finishes, right? I'm extremely disappointed. No one told me you get kicked out of the private group. What else? They make a big promise, take a deposit. I didn't get results, so I couldn't make further payments. Never got any service, requested a refund, and they're holding on to $15,000, refusing to refund via their merchant, because they're actually processing their payments not through credit card companies, but through merchants. Because to file a complaint and a chargeback through a credit card company is very easy. So that's also a lesson, right? If you know your business, like you can see these little cues all over the place, right? Scammy marketing, dude. If I got a review that says scammy marketing, I would take it very, very seriously. And these guys are not even addressing it. So after giving him my email, I was bombarded with marketing spam with no option to unsubscribe. In America and other countries, this is actually like a, I don't know if it's federal offense, but this is like breaking. It's against the law, and it's probably the biggest company in the industry that's doing that. You know, so and the list goes on and on. And obviously, the reason these guys have so many bad reviews is because they're enrolling so many clients. Right, I told you they're making like $1 million a month, which in this space is kind of a lot. Maybe not in other industries, but this is a business with very high profit margins, talking 50 and up, 50% and more, and this goes for pages. So yeah. Anyway, so
you know, in an unrelated but kind of tangentially, it's one of the things, if you really are interested in getting into a business, you really have to think about the scalability of that business, and especially consulting. If the one-to-one relationship is important, you need to be able to hit the brakes and not accept clients when you get past the point.
Yeah.
If you can't service them well, and it's not worth the extra short-term money you can put in your pocket, because you're gonna die really fast as soon as the word gets out that you in fact can't manage your growth.
And then that under the stress is so bad. Some people just eat that stress of being sued and stuff like that. I just can't eat that stress. Like, man, I get all red.
I don't know. There are so many Trumpsters in the world.
Yeah, but like, even to your point with this person today, right, who came to us, and he's an Emirati, he has a lot of money. I could have just taken his money, like in thousands of dollars, but I was like, you can't scale a business where a father has to pass his business to a son. Like, I can't devise a scalable marketing strategy for that, you know?
Right.
So
right. Let's move on to the next. If we could just click.
Sorry guys, I got to run though. Sorry.
No, you have to go.
So I have to
through the last three teams. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
So I'll pay extra attention to you. If you have questions, post them. And if I can't field them that you would like to have asked Nazim, I will maybe.
Let me do this. Give me a second. It's always good to stay connected. Let me drop my Facebook profile here. You guys can just go ahead and add me if you want, and ask me any questions you have. There it is. There's my profile. Yeah,
that was nice of you.
Friend request. No worries. And Jeff, I guess you and we can just talk about a follow-up meeting if there's a need for that, and that's it. So
Great, great. Well, thank you very much for your time.
sure.
I
No
really
worries.
appreciate it. And,
Yeah.
so
Have a beautiful
thank
day,
Thank you.
guys. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good luck in your
Bye.
project. Bye bye.
Okay,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
don't hang up, guys. I still got you for a couple minutes. So he's gone. I just as a little thing before it slips my brain, just as a teachable moment, I try to give you the profile of these people that you're going to be talking with, and you would really be serve yourself by thinking about who they are and thinking about how you should take advantage of them being in front of you. So if they ask, hey, do you have any questions of me? This isn't like you just saw them down the street. This is in the context of the class that you're taking, and you have a project that's related to 40% of your grade. I mean, can't you imagine some question that you have somebody who's an expert in this business that it's like free, and he or she will give you a very experienced answer to the question. And so I advise you for the next couple speakers that we're going to have, just selfishly think, what could I ask them where they would answer part of my project for me?
I mean, we had some questions and pretty many of them.
For you three, that's an on me that I didn't manage the time well enough to get you. But so ask those questions, or go to Facebook and ask him those questions. He'd be happy to answer you. So do that. So sorry for that. All right, let me move over to the next share screen. Let me go back where we were. Okay, here we are. Okay, so ask him, and if you have any challenges in getting good feedback from him, just let me know. But he's typically responsive within a day for something that's not directly related to his business. But where am I here? So here, no big surprise, you have another activity. This one's wrapped around virtual communities. So what I want you to do, that's kind of the exercise is in two parts. One is you have to go and research what virtual communities are related to your target market. Think about your target market and then think about where do those guys hang out? Because that's where you need to be. And it was related to when I interrupted him earlier when he talked about the relationship between catching users who are looking for products or services via Google search, different than the placement of ads to try to capture a customer when they're in their community, maybe asking about or talking about, or maybe they're not even thinking about it, but that's the audience that you would think would be using or interested in your product or service. So go and look at those communities. Could be TikTok, could be Instagram, could be Snapchat, could whatever. Go and find those different communities and identify what how do you profile those communities, and then connect them to that in fact is your target market. Then the next part of the activity is to consider or reconsider the attributes of your target market from activity 2.0, and then draft 3 marketing tactics that you would employ to reach a particular objective. Now, each of you have different objectives, so I can't be more specific than that, other than potentially to say, like, my food, how do you get awareness? Because you're a new company, people don't know you. They might know some of these other, healthy food providers. But so what specific marketing tactics would you employ to try to get those new users, new customers from an awareness standpoint first, because you have to look at the funnel. They don't know you. They're not going to buy from you today. They're going to buy from you after they've seen your ad. This is where you have to use your marketing 101 skills. They've seen it 6 or 7 times. Now they can, there's some trust in that they're aware of you. And now how do I move them through the funnel?
Could a good tactic be like to, because that's what I wanted to ask, what is his name?
Nazim?
Yeah, him. If it would be a good tactic to maybe like use influencers, since we're targeting like the people with like lifestyle. So
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's what we thought.
Totally. But just be thoughtful about it, because I mean, anyone could say, oh, I'm going to get you know, Rihanna, or I'm going to get you know, Shaq to, you know, market my shoes. Well, I mean, the feasibility and the relativeness between that influencer and your market has to be as just making sure that it's reasonable. Mm-hmm. So that's all I have.
So there is no, can I ask, so there is no activity 4.0, there's just 2 parts to activity 5.
Did I skip a number?
There was,
I did. There is a 4.0 and I did skip it. Okay.
What is it in this case? So
no, this is 4.
Oh, so it is.
Let's just do this. I might come back to 4.0. I intentionally skipped it because Nazim came and this, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is 4.0.
Was there an activity 3.1?
Yes, activity 3.1 was redoing 3.0.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we
3.0 was in class, 3.1 was the
okay, I marked it
update.
as 3.0 last time for the homework, sorry.
That's okay. It's not okay, but I'm not going to kill you.
Nice.
All right. Thank you for pointing out that we had to jump over 4.0. That's all. You have any other questions? If not,
I will ask from the guest speaker, I guess. I had a few questions about our project, actually. He mentioned, okay, I'm going to ask pass from you too as well.
Okay.
Lidachki project, you remember the portal that?
Of course.
He mentioned that it's important to limit the target audience and limit the services provided, but our idea is to extend the services. So what do you think, to what extent we should limit the target audience and to what extent we should limit the services? Should we provide like, how to say, head topics and then we can go deeper, or?
Right. That's a really good question. And because we don't have the time in this class to actually get into that level of detail, I will tell you that generically, more focus is better.
Mm-hmm.
And I never say always and never, almost always or almost never. I'll say that. So almost always it's better. There might be an exception somewhere. I've not run into it, but almost always you're better off, because if you're more narrow, then you can find that particular client set that's interested in that particular thing. And my MTV example earlier is the opposite, right? It's where I'm trying to do everything for everybody, which means I please nobody. And so if I'm coming and I'm looking for, like, for example, home cleaning services, well, why am I having to dig through all of your services to find home cleaning services when that's all I want? And I got to get through plumbers or electricians or dog walking, or I mean, I get all these other things. So it's a website, right? So you can manage it in a way that's easy. So I'm not actually confusing my customer, but at the same time, from a brand awareness and association, sometimes it creates some confusion. You can think about automobiles the same way. if I'm Mercedes-Benz and I'm selling trucks and I'm also selling a Zoom Z class or C class, you know, those are two different audiences. So if I go to the Mercedes-Benz website, main website, and I'm talking about headquarters and automobile, you know, manufacturing and market share and all these other kinds of things. Yeah, as a general consumer, I could give a shit. But
I have one point to add actually, that because of our really important factor is as well to employ more people, because now the situation is really bad, unemployment rates are increasing and so on. So idea was that it is easy to apply to get a job in our service provider as our service provider. So when looking at it from this perspective, I think that it's good that there are kind of many professions, so more people can get more jobs as well. So do you think it could still work if, even though it varies so much? Or
yeah, I mean, you're too, I don't mean to be critical. Well, I do mean to be critical. I don't mean to knock you down, right, because you say something, but you have to think about, even if that's a good thing, who's it good for? I mean, this is back to his comment that you guys, and you're no different than the other guys.
Maria, Yana, and Sean.
Yeah, but not other people on the team, but the other project ideas. Often a business has multiple customers. Shaw Academy was the other one. So you're recruiting service providers. So you have that audience that, you're right, you would be servicing them, and that you're giving them a chance to get access to the market, which are the people that need those services. But it only works when both of those audiences are being serviced with a mutual benefit. And for example, it's not, you're wasting people's time if you're saying, oh, we're providing services for everybody, but you're confusing your target market. They don't really see you as providing any particular service. You can fix these things, right? If
I think that we could just check which professions are the most profitable for us and keep those, and leave the others aside. Or say,
yeah, well, fees, there's a chapter on this, as you would expect. It's called Implementing E-commerce Strategies, and the section that's relevant to that particular question is feasibility. So you would look at what the overall feasibility is. So it's not just simply, are they profitable, but operationally, is this feasible? So for example, you might say that a particular service, I don't know, maybe like say electrician is a higher cost, higher profit service, but it requires much more oversight, quality control for your platform, making sure that they have their regional certifications, they're authorized, that they can actually do, and plumbers are the same, that they're authorized, have the proper certifications to do business in different geographies, different jurisdictions, whether that's Prague based, or whether that's Czech Republic based, or whether that's, you know, Dresden or Munich or whatever. But so there's a relationship between your ability to create and manage those services and profitability. So all those things together are the operational planning, and that's in this. If you want to look ahead, it's worth looking through that chapter on implementing e-business initiatives.
Yes, okay, thank you.
All right. So, do please ask Nazim the other questions that you have. Yeah. I think hopefully that today, then, just to summarize, that when we go back through this project and you can see that we're kind of picking off the important elements of developing your idea, and now we're getting more deeply into, okay, now what am I going to do? And of course, there are a lot of things we're not going to do because it's outside of the scope of this class, but the e-commerce related initiatives, you can see the relationship, the necessity of having that clear definition of what is my what makes me special? What's my USP? What do my customers do poorly? You know, their weakness, hopefully I'm positioning my strength against that. And that's what I'm trying to gonna communicate out in my digital marketing strategy, depending upon where they are in the funnel. But there's a very specific thing, and you'll do this in this exercise today or this week, is to create 3 of those marketing tactics that will deliver back on what your principal objective is in your business plan. Is that good? All
Sounds
right.
good.
So I'll see you on Slack and have a good week and stay safe.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Please have a
Thank you.
nice week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.